Defense in college football 25 is getting better with each update, but is still very much the weaker side of the ball.
This
So in today's video, we're going to be showing you a couple of concepts and some different styles of defense to run to shut down the most popular offenses in this game, and kind
pressure,
of just to
pressure flip.
shift your mindset of how you play defense, because defense in this game needs to be played very differently than how you play it in Madden. So with that being said, let's hop straight into it. If you play mostly Dynasty, you should definitely have a custom playbook. There's really no reason not to use one. The only reason might be if you're in an online league and they don't allow them. Otherwise, you should have one 100%. You need to have things like nickel over, 4-6. You need to have dime, dollar, double A gap. All the most popular defenses you should have access to be able to run whenever you want. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to just hop into a 4-2-5. You can hop into a lot of different defenses. The main two things we're going to be running is nickel over and double A gap, which double A gap is in every single formation, and I'm pretty sure nickel over is as well, but I'm not positive about that. But for the sake of this video, let's hop into the 4-2-5 playbook, but I definitely recommend that if you're a Dynasty player, make a custom book. It'll help you very much. All right, so let's first talk about a couple of concepts on defense. First of all, main thing, you should be running more man than zone coverage. You don't have to be doing an all-out blitz like I'm doing. You can run cover 2-man, cover 1-man. You want to try to find a defense that lets you user the middle of the field. Like right now, the running back is going to be going out on the route, but most of the time if you're sending a mid blitz at a real person, they're probably going to block the running back. So if I snap this, the running back's staying to block, so I can go out and user out on the field. Also, this is Alabama, so they have very good man coverage anyways, but don't worry too much about the personnel. So we want to be able to be in a defense where we're running man coverage and we have someone that we can user on. You can also do this. If you want to stay in the double A gap defense, you can actually leave more on the running back. Now you're only sending a 5-man blitz, which adds a little bit of pressure to your defense, but now you add a user out to the field as well. And with a 5-man rush against no blocked running back and double A gap, you're still going to get very good pressure like you just saw there. Let's snap it again. I'm running out to user. I'm helping over the middle, covering X. The blitz is a little bit slower with a 5-man, but it still has the pressure. So you want to be running man for a multitude of reasons. First of all, man coverage in this game is just better than zone. That's just period point blank, man coverage is better. Okay, so the biggest reason is because RPOs, running the ball, all kinds of screen passes, jet sweeps, all stuff like that are very, very good against zone coverage. It is very hard to get the personnel that you need on a RPO bubble like this. So let's say that I'm running this RPO bubble against we'll hop into a cover 3. This is just a base cover 3. Let me just show you. I can basically throw this route to B every single time. Bad throw, still get about 10 yards on the play. Anytime against cover 3, even against a hard flat cover 3, I can probably throw this football 10 out of 10 times. Watch this again. As long as he picks up that block, which he did, look at this. It just destroys it. And I mean, one move and I'm probably to the end zone. Cover 3 is terrible against bubbles, even with a hard flat. If you go into a cover 2, it's really honestly not any different. Watch this. Throw it again behind them, but it's again another 10, 15 yards on the play. Running bubbles against zone coverage is one of the easiest things you can do in this game. This game, with the movement and the skill moves, it punishes zone coverage for just staying back, and it's annoying, honestly. There's no safe defense in this game. So that's what bleeds into my conclusion that we should be just sending pressure and running man. And now let's try to watch this bubble against man coverage. He dropped the pick, but he's right there. That's a pick 6 in 9 out of 10 situations. Watch this again. Let me show you. This is not a fluke. You can also press this if you want. He's right there again. Swats it down. Man coverage against bubbles is the best defense in the game. People are trying to stop the best offense in this game with zone coverage. It does not work, and it never will work. Even a hard flat or even like a double zone, like a Mabel on the left side, is not going to stop this bubble. It's all about numbers. When I'm running a cover 3, look at the left side of the field. We've got a hook curl, and we've got a purple, and the other zone is a deep blue. So there's basically one corner versus 2 blocking wide receivers. Watch this. See how they run up and they block the deep blue? The only other person left to make the tackle is the hook curl. And that means that it's going to always be probably a massive gain unless they're just using the route themselves. So I highly suggest you stop running so much zone coverage because it's not honestly a safe defense in this game anyways. Skill moves are way too good. Movement's way too good. So change up the way you run defense. Try to get turnovers, put some pressure. If they score in one play against a mid blitz, I mean, honestly, what's the big deal? They're probably going to score against zone coverage anyways. Zone coverage is just too bad in this game to get consistent stops. The only way you can really run zone is if you're running a heavy blitz behind it or with it. So I strongly suggest stop running so much zone, start running more man. And like I said, you don't have to run double A gap. You can run a safe man coverage like a cover two man, but I strongly suggest you try to find one where you can still use it in the middle of the field, because a lot of the routes that beat man are usually breaking across the middle. There's slants, drags. Of course, there's also routes like comebacks. Those can't really be guarded by your user. That's just more so do they have time to throw the football. But that's the first step of this new style of defense. Let's say you don't want to send double A gap blitz every single time. You want to change it up and have a little bit safer defense. You can go to a cover two man, right? But I strongly suggest you go to like a dime look where you have the most DBs on the field possible. If you're in a nickel set, you're probably going to still have a linebacker on the field in coverage, guarding a tight end or guarding a running back. You don't want that. So right now, I'm being forced to guard the running back, which is really annoying because that means I can't really use it in the middle of the field. I have to sit here and guard the running back. If the running back's just hitting the flat every play, you can grab your defensive tackle and just throw him in a hard flat. So now, if I put the running back on a out route to the right, the hard flat over there is guarding that. So of course my user was left on it, but that route was bagged. Even if I'm not usering that with the middle linebacker, he can't throw that because there's a defensive end over there. But that's just one thing you can change. But something else you can do is also just grab the deep blue on the left or the right. But if you do that, just know that this part of the field up here is very weak because you're using the middle. So you need to be ready to guard anything that goes up to the right. Playing defense in this game is so much about knowing where your strengths and weaknesses are on the field. So I know the left side of the field is strong. We've got three corners. We've got the deep blue on the left. So I need to be taking anything to the middle and to the top right. This is my area. So if I snap the football, I'm looking for anything. I'm making sure A doesn't get open. It kind of does a little bit. Here comes B. If I'm not guarding that B route right there, that is a touchdown. So you have to be very mindful with where you're guarding on the field and don't get lazy. Pay attention and know where your weakness is. So I think in this game, cover two man is probably your best bet on defense. Obviously, you can change up how you run it. You can throw some zones on the field. I mean, you can throw him in a mid-read. You can change him to a soft squat. I mean, you can do all kinds of stuff. You can guard on the deep safety. So now we've got like a half zone, half man coverage look. Keeping your opponent guessing is very important for this game. You don't want to just come out and cover two man every single play. Unless they're just a bad opponent and they can't beat it, then cool. But we're trying to build up concepts where we can beat good players. All right, so to recap our first two tips before we get to the final tip of the video, run more man coverage than zone coverage. That is tip number one. And tip number two is whenever you're running a defense, make sure you know the strengths and weaknesses of the field and keep the opponent guessing. Don't always just go pure man. Throw in some zones still, because a zone in the right part of the field is still a good defense. But running all-out zone every single drive against an offense like a RPO, a bubble, I mean, the jet sweeps, all of that stuff just shreds zone coverage. You want people on the field that are manned up and as close to the wide receivers as possible. That's the only way you're going to get consistent turnovers, I promise you. I've played enough of this game now. I've played online dynasties, offline. I've played road to CFP. You've got to stay in more man coverage than zone. Otherwise, you are going to keep giving up scores because zone coverage is just not safe in this game. It's too easy to beat. All right, the final tip of this video is if you're a stubborn person. You're like, no, screw all that. I'm still going to run zone coverage. It's my defense. I've always ran zone. That's what I want to run. I've got one good thing for you with zone coverage. They just fixed the way purples play in this game, so you can now consistently run a double maple again, which does make zone coverage at least a good chunk better. The reaction time's still not great. The zones, the way they drift away from players sometimes and don't match very well, not great, but you can now run the most popular zone defense again in this game, which was missing for a long time. So double maple is basically a hard flat and a curl flat on the same side of the field, so you can cut away the short routes and the deep routes. So we want to put our flats to 25 and curls to 5. All right, so this is how you run a double maple. You need a curl flat on the right and the left, and you need a cloud or a hard flat on the left and the right as well. So as you can see, this is going to basically take away the entire left and right side of the field. It leaves a lot of space in the middle for me to cover, but the pros of this is that most people you play against online, they're not really wanting to attack the middle of the field because they know that's where your user is. It's very hard to beat a user. It's much easier to beat computer defenders, especially in zone coverage. I would say that there's one pro of this defense and there's one con of it. Basically, the entire field on the sidelines is covered. That's a huge pro to have against other players. But the con is that you only have 3 down linemen rushing, which means they're going to have a lot of time to throw the football, at least in theory. Sometimes you have a lucky rush, someone breaks in really quickly, but more often than not, they're probably going to have a good amount of time to throw the football. You can't count on a 3-man rush to get in every single time unless you just have amazing defensive linemen, and even then, still maybe not. But this is a really popular defense because this is a very popular route combo people like to run. They're going to have a streak, they're going to have something that attacks the deep middle, and they're going to have, I'm sorry, not the deep middle, the deep left side of the field or deep right side of the field, and they're going to have something that attacks the flat. And they usually have their check down, something like the curl, the drag. This is a really popular route combo. This is trips tight end, something you're going to see a lot online if you play other people that are good. They're going to run very popular meta formations. So with this defense, though, let's just take a look. Don't worry too much about the middle of the field. Just pay attention to the left side of the field when I snap this. So B is bagged. Y, maybe you can throw that because he kind of is a little bit late getting back to it. Maybe if you put that cloud flat to 30 yards, maybe it's fine. As you can see, the rush took forever to get there. That is, again, the con of running the double Mabel. But the plus is that so much of the field is covered that sometimes it may take them a very long time to even find someone open anyways because your user is going to be all up in here trying to guard everything. But the biggest thing is you're taking away 3 routes on the field the second the play starts. Obviously, I have to press this to give you a normal look. Obviously, you're not going to be running prevent. But if you run this, this is what a normal defense will look like. Hang on, let me back these guys up. So your defense will probably look more like this. Your safeties will be, about probably where they are right now. So we're going to put Brown back into a curl flat. We're going to put Jackson into a curl flat. And let's just watch this one more time. Let me put this route combo back. X on a streak. Y is on a corner. B is on an out route. And let's snap it and look. So B is bagged. Y, he's bagged. There's nothing really open. I don't know why Y just ran down to the flat. That was kind of buggy. But anyways, this is the Mabel defense. I still think man coverage is better because I like having a better pass rush. But if you want to run zone and you want to cut out a lot of the most popular route combos, then a double Mabel is something you can run now because they did fix the curl flats and make them actually work with the zone drops, and they actually play aggressively on routes now. So with all that being said, I hope that this helps you in some way. Take even just one of these tips and apply it to your games, and I promise you'll start getting way more stops on defense. It's Real Jev. Hope you have a great rest of your day. I'm out.